Hello, welcome back to the Breaking News Update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you're watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news reports coming out from the U.S., and we're going to talk about U.S. President Donald Trump in today's video. We'll also be discussing the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy as well. And the topic for discussion today is going to be the ongoing talks between the U.S. and Ukraine. As we know right now, a peace deal has been unveiled to Ukraine coming from the U.S., and we're seeing that it's very favorable of the Russian side, not so much for Ukraine. And Ukraine is, for the most part, rejecting this deal, is what we're starting to hear. So we're going to go over this new report here on your screen. Trump blasts Zelenskyy over Ukraine unwilling to cede Crimea to Russia. Trump on Wednesday lashed out at Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, saying he is prolonging the killing field after he pushed back on ceding Crimea to Russia as part of a peace plan. Okay, so never a dull moment coming from U.S. President Donald Trump, as I did expect him to come out with some sort of statement. As we heard today, I updated you guys on our video for the Russia-Ukraine war earlier that Ukraine was rejecting the whole recognition of Crimea as Russian territory, also giving up, the territories that Russia's currently controlling right now inside of Ukraine and eastern Ukraine and southern Ukraine. So we know Ukraine is just really heavily rejecting this peace offer right now that's coming from the U.S., as it sides so much more with Russia than it does for Ukraine. So, the fact that Zelensky's been coming out over the last couple of days and just rejecting this deal so much, this is the response that we're going to be showing you here in a minute coming from U.S. President Donald Trump. I also have numerous other things I want to show you guys coming out from some of the statements on the Russian side as well, as Dmitry Peskov was in an interview on a French news magazine recently, and I want to show you guys some statements coming out from there as well regarding the Russians. So let's jump on over here to X. I've got a few things to share with you here today. This is from Max24, and he posted the actual screenshot of U.S. President Donald Trump putting a statement regarding Zelenskyy over here on True Social. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is boasting on the front page of the Wall Street Journal that Ukraine will not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There's nothing to talk about here. This statement is very harmful to the peace negotiations with Russia, in that Crimea was lost years ago under the auspices of President Barack Hussein Obama, and is not even a point of discussion. If you notice, he's talking about Obama and slamming him as well. Nobody is asking Zelenskyy to recognize Crimea as Russian territory, but if he wants Crimea, why didn't they fight for it 11 years ago when it was handed over to Russia without a shot being fired? The area also houses, for many years before the Obama handover, a major Russian submarine base. I think he meant base or bases. It's inflammatory statements like Zelensky's that makes it so difficult to settle this war. He has nothing to boast about. The situation for Ukraine is dire. He can have peace, or he can fight for another 3 years before losing the whole country. I have nothing to do with Russia, but have much to do with wanting to save, on average, 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week who are dying for no reason whatsoever. The statement made by Zelenskyy today will do nothing but prolong the killing field, and nobody wants that. We are very close to a deal, but the man with no cards to play should now finally get it done. I look forward to being able to help Ukraine and Russia get out of this complete and total mess that would have never started if I were president. Okay, so I know a lot of people are very unhappy with the peace deal that's been offered by the U.S. I mean, I expected Ukraine to get thrown under the bus a long time ago, and for them to receive some type of agreement like this that was not going to be favorable for Ukraine at all. And that's why Ukraine's coming out now and completely rejecting this. And we heard from President Zelenskyy today as well. I let you guys know that Ukraine's actually focused more on trying to get a 30-day ceasefire right now before even entering into any negotiations. So that's their first step before they negotiate with Russia at all. So as we can see here, U.S. President Donald Trump very unhappy with Zelensky's statements on, in terms of recognizing Crimea as Russian territory, that Zelensky's not willing to give it up, nor any of the regions that are currently partially in control by the Russians right now. Okay, so I just wanted to share this with you guys, let you know what U.S. President Donald Trump had to say about that today, and a few other things I want to share with you guys. Also, this one from Fiorella Isabel. Breaking the conflict in Ukraine would end instantly if Kiev withdrew its troops from the 4 regions enshrined in the Russian constitution, Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, said today. So the regions he's talking about is Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia. Okay, so this is when Peskov was on that interview today with the French magazine. And yeah, so he's coming out saying that again, that Ukraine should withdraw their forces from the four regions that they're currently fighting in right now. That includes all these four regions right here that we just went over. And we had a report yesterday that on the Financial Times they were stating that Russia was willing to give up their ambitions to take over these four territories in a bid to end this war. It looks like that is not the case, as Peskov coming out still calling on Ukraine to withdraw from those areas. So just yet again, another statement coming out from Russia. Now, for Max 24, Putin respects Trump and they agree that refusing dialogue is absurd. Trump did not set a deadline for peace, says Peskov. Okay, so what Dmitry Peskov also mentioned during this meeting with the French magazine is he said that Russia is very respectful towards Trump, but apparently there is no deadline being set for this ceasefire. So it's interesting because even though all the pressure is really being put on Ukraine more than it is on Russia right now, apparently Russia's saying that there is no deadline. So if there's no deadline, then why the rush to end this thing so quickly? And we keep hearing that U.S. President Donald Trump wants this war ended by the end of the month, okay? Now, from Geo Insider, just in an interview with Le Point, that's that French magazine, Dmitry Peskov said Russia has no territorial claims against the Baltic states. He emphasized that Moscow remains open to negotiations while accusing Europe of choosing the path of confrontation. Peskov also pointed out that European countries often violate the very democratic principles they try to promote. He stressed that Russia has no plans to attack anyone, but will pursue its goals, whether through peaceful means or, if necessary, by force. Okay, so that was a huge statement today. This whole statement of whether through peaceful means or, if necessary, by force. So they'll pursue all their goals. So if their goals in Ukraine are to take over these four territories that they're still fighting for on top of Crimea, they're willing to continue the fighting if need be and maybe even push further into Ukraine. And I'm sure a lot of people probably agree that that could be their plans as well, to completely annihilate Ukraine. We've heard Russian officials come out so many times stating that they want to erase Ukraine basically off the map. They're not happy with Ukraine at all, obviously, which is why they're at war with them. So just yet again, more statements coming out from Russia today. This from Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman. Okay, so let me know what you guys think on that. Now, from War Monitor, if U.S.-led talks fail, Ukraine could find itself in an awkward position in the future and receive tougher peace terms from Russia, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated. So I thought this was a pretty insane statement coming from Rubio today. So the U.S. Secretary of State basically saying that Ukraine could be in a much worse position down the road and in the end get a much worse peace term from Russia. So is he kind of threatening Ukraine that they're going to be in a worse position down the road, that who knows, would the U.S. back out? I mean, I've been saying for a while too, I think there's a very big possibility if the U.S. backs out from these talks, they could potentially withdraw military support from Ukraine and maybe even intelligence as well, and just completely leave Ukraine out of the open, and Europe would have to back them 100%. And things could definitely get very interesting over there, as the U.S. is a major partner to Ukraine right now. So let me know what you think on that statement coming out from Marco Rubio today. Now take a look at this from Jürgen Nodit. Trump's peace plan is pro-Russian and cannot be the basis for a just peace, according to Bild magazine out of Germany, citing Ukrainian officials. The plan is one-sided. Russia receives concrete benefits while Ukraine only receives vague promises. Trump wants to end the war but makes no commitments to Ukraine's security. Washington is preparing Budapest 2.0 for us. This is exactly what I thought, the whole Budapest 2.0 thing. That this peace plan has nothing to do with really protecting Ukraine. They get very vague European security guarantees, and for the most part, a lot of the details are not even really finely explained. So Ukraine is really not going to get a whole lot of security guarantees. And then on top of that, Russia gets everything they want. They get Crimea. They would most likely get a large majority of control of the territories in eastern and southern Ukraine also. And we heard from the U.S. as well that they would not recognize those territories as Russian, only Crimea as part of the peace plan. But clearly, a large part of this peace plan is pro-Russian. That's what we continue to hear, which is why Jürgen Nodit shared this little video here. It's obviously an AI model, an AI video showing Trump dressing up as a Russian, wearing the Z hat and holding up the Russian flag, so to kind of mock him with the way he's dealing with this war. Now, finally, one last thing I want to share with you guys from next to a plane with Steve Witkoff on board has presumably departed from Paris towards Russia. Trump's special envoy is flying to Putin again. This will be his fourth meeting with the dictator in the last 2 months. This visit was announced almost simultaneously. First, Putin's aide Yuri, Ushakov, then the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt. According to her, Witkoff is going to continue negotiations. Okay, so just a quick update to let you guys know as well. Steve Witkoff, the special envoy of the Middle East that is negotiating with Russia on behalf of the U.S., is now heading on over to Moscow, probably for tomorrow, to meet with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, once again for the fourth time. And he's leaving from Paris to Moscow today. So just a quick update to let you know the U.S. and Russia relations are still ongoing, and they are still negotiating whatever deals they are negotiating in the background at this time. Okay, so just want to give you guys some updates coming out for these talks between U.S. and Ukraine right now, and we'll wait for more information coming out. If we get some more updates, I'll let you know what's going on over here, but that's the latest. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.